Welcome back to another episode of the AI Transformation Playbook podcast, where we move beyond AI hype to explore what it really takes to build organizations that are ready for the future. I am Bannavti Suiseka. Every week, we bring you conversations with leaders who are helping organizations move from AI experimentation toward measurable transformation. Today's guest, ST Tangirala, brings a unique perspective because he works directly with growing businesses trying to bridge the gap. ST is the co-founder and the chief operating officer of Solo, an AI-powered platform helping businesses connect with expert talent and actionable insights. He's also host of the Next in Time podcast, where he's interviewed founders, investors, and innovators shaping tomorrow's economy. What makes ST interesting is his belief that execution matters more than ideas. And in today's AI economy, that's probably more true than ever. ST, welcome to AI Transformational Playbook First podcast.
Thank you, Eric, for having me on.
So you argue that execution matters more than ideas. But with AI, everyone now has ideas, strategies, and access to intelligence. So why do you still think organizations struggle to execute?
One issue is that people just have this idea that, hey, if I hear the term AI, then they will just say, hey, I'll be on the cutting edge of something great. And then that adrenaline rush that goes into their mind just prevents them from really taking action. It's not something where when you have an idea, it's still stuck in your mind. But if you had to just go ahead and execute that idea, then who knows what will happen. It's a better outcome than let's say if you had to just have it in your mind and just never do anything with it.
This means AI is actually doing more of probably exposing.
AI is giving everyone an opportunity to do something that they never really imagined doing. So that's kind of why I'd say execution is more important than ideas, because when you have AI, especially when you have platforms like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and whatnot, when you can just brainstorm your entire ideas on that platform, and then you can just give a directive to it. Say, hey, can you help me build this? Can you help me build this? And while at the same time, can you see what's going on, what's going right, what's going wrong? You have the tools right in your disposal to be able to go out and build something from scratch.
So when you work with small and medium-sized businesses, what's the biggest gap you see between who is successful in implementing AI and those who simply experimenting with it?
I think one problem with small businesses is that they have a lot of things on their belt, and they have limited resources to be able to execute on things. So I think one thing we've been trying to work with small businesses on is to be able to be open to AI. People here in the heartland, they have a tendency to be a bit more AI skeptical than, let's say, if you were in the coasts or if you're in the major cities. I think the way AI is being sold to a lot of these small businesses is in the tone of voice of, let's say, Silicon Valley, not like something where it doesn't speak their language. It speaks the language of Silicon Valley, which kind of comes across to them as a behemoth that is trying to take over, and they get defensive about it, which I get why. So when we try to build companies like Sobo, we're out there not really saying AI much. We're trying to say we're really using tools to diagnose what problems you're facing, and then we can connect you with the right fractional consultant for that.
No, that's deeper than I thought. So something we often discuss on this podcast is technology doesn't transform organizations, people do. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. Let's dive into what it takes to build an AI-ready business. So many business owners think adopting AI means buying software. Meanwhile, it's something much bigger than that. What should leaders actually be building? If a company has 5 employees, where should they begin?
Definitely their internal organizational framework is where they could start with. AI, as I said, it's just a tool. It's not the end-all be-all of a business. And I think a lot of people kind of fall into the trap where they just use AI to build they just use AI and then assume, all right, hey, it's so easy to build, so let's just get rid of those least let's get rid of 4 out of those 5 people that are in our company, which it's going to be catastrophic, because when they think very short term, when they get rid of all those people, 4 people that have been loyal to the company for years, they've been delivering on things, they've been doing well for the company. If, let's say, they decided to let's let go of them and use AI and let things happen, there'll be a time where the owner of the business is out there doing a lot of work, promoting the business, getting leads, getting deals, making things happen. But then the inside of the business it will start getting more fragmented, and even AI will break as well. If there's a lot of load inside a business without any support, then it's bound to break, right? So that's kind of what I'd say. What they need to do is use AI to empower the employees. That's the whole purpose of how we can build a transformational organization using AI, is to not really build an automated business altogether. I definitely say when you're starting out, you can start automated, but then eventually you'll need to have someone to manage the automation.
Absolutely.
So I don't think, in my opinion, I just don't think you can't just simply hire 5 people, then use AI, then get rid of those 4 or 5 people, because it's more efficient for the business, because eventually the business will start breaking, and the inside of the business will eventually start breaking, and that will cause problems.
Thank you for bringing that up. I think yesterday I was telling somebody about hurrying into the adoption phase, firing people, and later on discovering that you still have to rehire people to maintain the AI process or the transformational process.
It's like now it's going to be, let's say if you have a home and something somewhere in the home breaks, right? You won't you can't just have tools do the things themselves. AI can be more sentient and intelligent, but they have not come to that part yet. Come to that conclusion that they're going to be better than humans, because we are the ones that still have raw imagination that
absolutely
don't have. And I'd say, let's say, for example, if you have a toilet, right? Why you call, and you just I'll just compare a business to a toilet. Let's say you get rid of the people trying to support the toilet, right? I was like that. And you assume, and let's say you have some other tool, you have all the tools that say you can run the business, you can basically fix the toilet yourself, but then eventually you don't know what you're doing. So it eventually starts breaking. That toilet starts breaking, that you have to call a plumber to fix the toilet. And that's kind of the same thing how I allude to to businesses in a way. That's kind of why I'm personally in the business of fixing the mistakes of what owners make when they try to just mass fire everyone without any plan. I'm the plumber for the business. That's what
for the business, doing the fixes. So you work with businesses that don't have enterprise budgets. What's encouraging about this moment? What are some mistakes you repeatedly see small businesses making? And how do leaders know whether AI is actually creating value instead of simply generating activity?
I think small businesses are the backbone of the economy, right? And,
absolutely.
And the issue is that now a lot of small businesses, I think they're run by the boomer generation, and maybe a significant chunk of the younger generations as well, Gen X, millennials, and Zoomers. But the issue is that, especially when the large chunk of small businesses are run by people over the age of 50 and above, they get a little too complacent. They get a little bit comfortable with how things are done, which the issue is that when they retire or when they step down from the business, someone has to man the operation. So they assume like when they sell it to so the way it's going now is that more businesses are being sold to private equity than having an actual succession plan to the next generation of people who want to keep running a small business, serve the community and whatnot. And when a business is sold to private equity, it basically means it's a dead game. Basically, they just use it. It's just basically now the business has become a commodity for the private equity firms. It's basically within their arsenal, and they don't know what to do with it. It's kind of, they say it's like a gold. It's gold that was originally built, but then it's stored in storage units. And right now the issue is that because of the fact that they're not able to get quality people on, quality consultants to be able to help their business stay stable, they have no choice but to sell to a larger enterprise. That's kind of where if small businesses start losing their economic power, then eventually the whole community gets affected. And that's why, in my opinion, I think having small businesses find the right talent, find the right consultants who can really work with them and really keep their businesses running steadily and smoothly without any sort of problems or bottleneck. It is a necessary thing, and that's why Sobo is what's here to solve that problem, is to be able to connect you with the quality consultant at a fraction of the time and the price that you usually charge consultants in the higher realms. So that's why when we came up with Sobo a couple of years ago, we said that the future is fractional. And those consultants, having those types of high quality consultants for these small businesses is the best way to bridge the gap where in terms of what problems in terms of really solving some of these problems for small businesses.
So let's transition now into your podcast. So you've hosted 100 founders, and in the next
180 episodes now on the show.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And the name of the podcast, for those who are watching us, is called the Next in Time Podcast, your own podcast. So it has given you a front row seat to many entrepreneurial journeys. After all these conversations, what patterns consistently separate successful founders? What surprised you the most?
I think the people who are successful are the ones that have the ability to really create a vision and be able to execute on that vision and be able to build a loyal following in terms of customers, subscribers, fans, and even people who just want to. They see a vision. The people really see a future vision in terms of they want to transform the world. They want to make an impact in society, and I try to be the platform to really facilitate that kind of conversation. Because usually podcasts, if you go to many podcasts out there, they talk about. It's very subject oriented, or it could be people talking about successful people, having celebrities on the show. It kind of gets a little boring because people get tired of that. People want new ideas. They want new ideas coming out of the woodwork. They want to feel like they are part of something grander than where they're at the moment. So that's kind of why what my podcast does is bring regular folks who are building ideas and stuff that are trying to make an impact on what they're building. I've interviewed people who are founders, startup founders, small business owners, regular professional people, even artists, chefs, people who own food companies. And I've interviewed recently I just interviewed someone who is building this interesting concept of space racing. So I think you don't really hear about these ideas if you ever go on regular media. So my podcast is solving that niche.
So do you think the founders are becoming better decision makers, or they're just simply faster decision makers?
I'd say they're faster now because they only have a limited budget, and with AI really coming in the forefront, I think AI is kind of helping them make faster decisions because they could write down what they think, and it kind of they have another idea and a perspective, and then the clash of those ideas helps them make a decision faster.
So what habit do you consistently predict long-term success? Or if you have to identify one leadership quality AI will never replace, what will it be?
Raw curiosity.
I like that.
Not simply just curiosity, but really raw curiosity. You can just think. You can't really, unless you really probe AI to really think that, it doesn't come naturally to AI to be able to think outside the box, right? It's a powered machine. It's always a machine. No matter how people say AI is going to be changing the world and whatnot, it is still a tool. It's a machine. It can't really think. Even it's in its most sentient form, it's still powered by humans. It's powered by electricity. So we have the ability to really think raw thoughts that people never really thought of before. And AI can think about it, but then it needs to be guided. We don't need guidance to really think these thoughts. Really, you may need guidance in expressing those thoughts, but in terms of really thinking it inside our heads, it's still relatively raw.
So let's dive now into this other aspect of your work that I really find fascinating: storytelling. So you've written novels, you've built technology, and you're still building technology. You're running a company. So some people might see those as completely different works. Do you see it like that too?
It's all interconnected. That's why they say I wrote myself as a polymath professional. It's because I do multiple different things that require different sides of the brain to operate.
So how has write fiction changed the way you think about leadership?
I feel like writing fiction is the best way for you to be able to express how you want to be as a person without having to really do anything about it. So it's like you can have your own imagination. You want to be a superhero. You want to be a leader. You want to be the adored president of the United States that you can't really be in the real world. It's like you that ability. I think fiction just gives you that ability to live that kind of character in that world that you never really imagined that you want to be a part of. I think it gives me an idea how it just helps me imagine things better, and that imagination kind of gives you a better leadership quality because you can really start empathizing. I think one quality of leadership is being able to empathize, and that empathy, it can really feel people's personalities and characteristics through the thoughts the characters you create. Who is this person? What does he do? What is his feeling? What are his feelings like? He really help how his feelings connect with the main character's feelings. It's kind of like that, how I see it with leadership as well.
So
And
with
also, and also you get to really write. For a business, you're writing a story of your own, and that is more tended to real life. Yeah, that's what it is.
So yeah, AI can produce unlimited content. Do you think this is going to make storytelling more valuable or less valuable? Can organizations lean on storytelling, or is something that leaders either have to drop or done?
I don't have to write. I think AI can help with at least fleshing out your imagination, but it won't replace your imagination. So it's kind of why I'd say storytelling is something the one thing that kept humanity going over the past millions of years is you tell stories within themselves or tell stories about themselves. Like the only reason you and I are connected because you read stories about what I do, who I am, and how I connected with you is because you are the one. You have a story of like this podcast about and all that. You can never will end even until humanity if storytelling ends, humanity will cease to exist.
So imagine the 5 years down the line from today, what will change most about small businesses now that AI is growing exponentially? I think 5 years from now, it will be everywhere. Do you think it's going to narrow the gap between small companies and enterprises, or widen it?
Be narrow. If you have really talented entrepreneurs, it'll narrow. It'll definitely narrow. And I think because if you see nowadays larger enterprises, they're becoming very bloated. And sometimes it kind of leads to inefficiencies and nothing happens within the company and that will start stagnating. And then it gives pretty much raw opportunities for small to mid-sized businesses that are more lean and just ready to take action. They're ready to jump in and really start taking sides. It's just, and also I think now, it also depends on how the economy goes as well. Like, is it a good time? Is there disposable income amongst people to be able to open up businesses and everything? Like nowadays, people are now opening up side hustles. So that's already a small business unto itself. So I don't think small businesses will go away. It's just now the volume, as long as it's growing and it gives people income and stability to grow, to live and families or build community. Then if it provides that, it will never go away. It will morph into something different. It will stay the same. We don't know what that's going to turn out. But I think larger enterprises are going to be going through an interesting time because AI and transformations, and also sometimes when a company grows so big, it becomes a bureaucracy.
Yeah. So what skills? So are you kind of about that or worried about it? And what skills do you think every business owner should begin developing today to make sure they don't miss out on the train tomorrow?
I would say don't develop skills is one thing, but developing curiosity is another thing.
Okay, like that. So let's move now into the rapid fire questions where you just need one word for each question. So what do you think is the biggest leadership mistake today?
The biggest leadership mistake, everyone will do your work for you.
Favorite
AI tool? Definitely, I have two. So Claude for executing tasks, ChatGPT for brainstorming.
What book should every entrepreneur read?
I would say more than even reading business books, read biographies of famous people.
Oh, I like that. It's very pertinent because I remember growing up with my uncle. I used to read of all these great friends who passed away. So it inspired me a lot because I saw how they struggled in life. And when I was going through my own struggle back then, and it gave me hope. I like that. That is very pertinent. So what
is the most overrated business advice? I would say it is like your passion. Like you should follow the market more than fall first before you follow your passion. Yeah.
Best lesson you've learned hosting your podcast?
There is are innovative. Like that they don't get. There's a lot of people who are very innovative and people don't get credit for it.
I think on that. So one word describing the future with all this AI.
It's kind of, it's an interesting future going on right now. That's for sure. It's I think economically we're going to be living interesting. I mean, it all depends on how that center, like the regular average Joe small businesses come out of the woodwork. If they can really challenge the bigs in the world.
Yeah.
I feel like more than simply having governments coming in and doing all the regulations on those companies, I feel like the best way to really regulate a large enterprise or let's say multi-billion-dollar corporation is empowering the small business.
Yeah.
It's a bigger regulation than, let's say, because in my opinion, I think there's a difference in terms of capitalism, which is there's Main Street capitalism and Wall Street cronyism.
Yeah.
And kind of between capitalism and socialism or versus communism. I think that's where people are kind of what's going really on. They still kind of framework of just capitalism is bad and socialism is good versus, capitalism, that's the problem. It's basically consolidation of everything, of all large enterprises into one behemoth, a big monopoly. And that's not through cronyism, through different relationships with the government, getting government contracts and everything like that. That's kind of keeping the larger enterprises,
Yeah.
And I feel like the biggest regulator of that is empowering the small, the mom-and-pop business.
So imagine you're speaking to every CEO, every founder, and every business leader listening today. What's one piece of advice you hope they remember long after this conversation ends?
Go out there and build things.
Yep. Keep building. All right, ST, this has been a conversation, and thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe this episode with another leader, and join us next week for another edition of AI Transformation Playbook. Remember, AI transformation isn't about replacing human intelligence. It's about empowering better human judgment, better leadership, and better organization. We'll see you next time. But before we wrap, where can our audience connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn at ST Tangirala. I think that would be the perfect spot for you to connect with me.
Okay. And can follow your podcast on YouTube.
I'd say follow me on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. And also, if you ever want to check us our Sobo.ai, just type in Sobo.ai onto the URL, and then you'll be able to sign up for a 30-day free trial and see how that goes. And if you ever want to check out my books, go on Amazon. Just type in my name, and you'll have 3 books ready to be shown to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
Wong every nick in yokin kikus yake manin ki Gloria